Anita, we're getting conflicting reports from Syria. What are you hearing?
Well, piecing together what we're hearing from activists, looking at what's coming out of the Syrian National Council, and of course the reports coming out of the Syrian state news, it does seem that this ceasefire is, in the words of the SNC spokesperson Basma Kodmani, being only partially observed. Whether that's enough for all parties to feel that in some way progress is being made, or whether that's enough for all parties to feel they have to tear up the agreement before it's even begun is another question. What have we got here? You talked about the big explosion next to a bus in Aleppo. It was a bus carrying military recruits. An officer killed, 24 wounded, according to Syrian state TV. But we're also hearing of 3 killed in Idlib and Hama. That comes from the Syrian National Council and their spokesperson Basma Kodmani. She also said that part of the agreement, and this is the case in fact, the agreement with under the Annan plan is to withdraw heavy artillery, things such as tanks, from all population centres. And what we're hearing on the ground is that that hasn't happened across the areas of the country where there has been engagement between opposition forces and indeed not even opposition forces, but protesters against the government in Damascus and government forces. In the case of Idlib, a town that I know rather better and a town in which I have contacts, I'm still trying to establish whether the tanks are in fact still inside the town or merely removed to the outskirts of the town pointing in. But I will also say to you that in our experience it makes very little difference whether the tanks are trundling through the streets or sitting on the main road parked outside the city with their gun turrets pointing in. In either case, the residents of Idlib feel under grave threat, and they don't view that as a ceasefire withdrawal at all, and they wouldn't until they saw those tanks rumbling up the road away from the city, and that they demonstrably haven't done. What we've also seen is a video. I don't think the quality is good enough to actually broadcast on TV, but a video out of Aleppo showing protesters, student protesters perhaps, who were demonstrating peacefully, exercising a right to freedom of association and peaceful protest as agreed to under the Annan plan. We saw them running for cover with gunfire clearly audible on the videotape. Now, as the presence of the Free Syrian Army is not in any way significant in Aleppo city, we simply haven't seen the sorts of manifestations of opposition forces in that city that we have in other parts of the country. I think it would be very difficult to blame that gunfire on members of the Free Syrian Army. So we have to say that people firing over the heads of those protesters in Aleppo have to be in some way, unless we're informed and given evidence to the contrary, forces acting on behalf of the government. So we see here many multilateral little breaches of the ceasefire already.
All right, Anita, thank you very much indeed. Anita McNaught live for us on the Syrian-Turkish border.